Hey folks, Real Honesty with Joe Mitlin. I'm Joe Mitlin. This is a 15-year reflection on the August 5th, 2002 edition of Raw, where we find out who attacked Shawn Michaels. It was Triple H. I mean, duh. Anybody who's been a wrestling fan for a while already knew that. But I decided to watch this because it was a pretty telling episode where they built up a lot to SummerSlam, and they continued a few storylines, and then, bringing to light Shawn Michaels coming back to a WWE ring. He said for one time only, and then it became another 7-year run. Sort of part-time. I mean, he did have some injury times and whatever, as are going to happen. But anyway, so it opened with Chris Jericho saying why he jumped to Raw. Eric Bischoff is a genius. And he is this and he is that, despite the fact that Jericho and Bischoff had heat for WCW. Jericho's playing up his heel role very well. And Triple H interrupted him and various people throughout the night trying to find out who attacked Shawn Michaels the previous week. Triple H had, just basically said, okay, I believe you. You and I don't like each other, but I believe you when you said you didn't. And there we go. And then RVD comes out, interrupts Jericho and saying, why don't you face me in the ring tonight? Promos were never RVD's strong suit. I mean, I'm not saying that I'm not saying that he wasn't creatively stifled in WWE as far as stuff he was told to say, but even his promos in ECW, weren't that good. I mean, my opinion. Now, were they better than his WWE ones? Absolutely. I won't even talk about any of the ones he cut in Impact Wrestling because he just didn't give a shit in Impact Wrestling. But they brawl a bit. And it's basically a match is made for later. It's going to be the main event match of the evening, RVD versus Chris Jericho. Then you start with Bubba Ray versus The Big Show. The tables match, and it was short. Trish Stratus and Spike Dudley had interfered because Big Show had been kind of a dick to a lot of people. And they helped Bubba win. Like, Trish distracted Big Show, as Trish could do, especially back in 2002. She looked really good. And Spike ran in the ring and hit and tackled Big Show with a football helmet, like hitting him in the gut. And then Bubba caught him off the ropes, using momentum, put him through the table. So Bubba won. Big Show was upset. Triple H confronted him later, saying, no, I did not attack Shawn Michaels. I could have, but I didn't. And the Un-Americans had a promo backstage with Terry. It was Storm, Test, and Christian, but Lance Storm had this one line that just, I mean, think about it. August 5th, 2002, not even a year had passed since 9/11 had happened. And Lance Storm said, we're 60 miles, they were in Baltimore. I think they were in Baltimore. They were 60 miles from the U.S. Capitol, where with the president who couldn't even defend his own country. It's like, ooh. I mean, that's some heat right there. I remember enjoying the Un-Americans back then, even though it was a short-lived gimmick and it really could have gone on a lot longer than it did. But, man, that was some really good heat. They should have continued with that. I mean, Storm was cutting some pretty good promos there. I mean, Lance Storm was never the best talker, period, at least on camera in WWE. But he definitely had a good dry wit about him. And I mean, I've heard some interviews he's done and some takes on wrestling. The guy's got a pretty good mind. I mean, obviously, he's a pretty good talent. But this line in particular, just the way he delivered it was just so cold, but so... Some people agreed, some people didn't. I mean, I'm not going to get into that whole political game, but it was a really good line, a really good heat getter. Then you have Bradshaw and Dreamer brawl backstage in a hardcore title match because Dreamer had beat Bradshaw for the hardcore title, which was getting passed around more than a Kardashian or a Jenner. Or more than Bruce Jenner's gender. Anyway, so Dreamer didn't end up getting the win. It was a fine brawl. I mean, they brawled from the backstage into the ring, around the ring, DDT onto the steel steps, and Dreamer managed to get the win 1, 2, 3, which was fitting. Dreamer then escaped through the crowd celebrating with him. It wasn't a bad match. There was no blood. That's okay. The hardcore title was, I think, taken away very soon after this. It was like unified and gone. I think it was unified with the IC title very soon after this, which I think Kane did it. I don't know. I mean, it was somebody that did it. It might have actually been RVD that did it, but in fact, it was RVD because then RVD was the IC champion and was going to go in and was going to go was going to be the IC champion going in to face Triple H and Unforgiven 2002, which I will do a 15-year reflection on that also. And then Jericho had beat him just the week before to free RVD up for, oh God, RVD could become the new champion. No, he didn't, because Triple H likes to play politics. Moving on from that, though, not a bad hardcore match, but one of the last hardcore title matches you'll see. And then Victoria got reintroduced to the crowd and reintroduced to fans after being one of the Godfather's hoes and getting put through a table by China and working in Ohio Valley Wrestling and working really, really hard and getting better in the ring. And I mean, Victoria, big fan of Victoria. Victoria should be in the WWE Hall of Fame. And Molly Holly was there with her. Molly Holly should also be in the Hall of Fame. I mean, if you're going to put women in the Hall of Fame, put women that at least were hardworking and actually did pretty well. I would put Victoria in before Molly Holly, but Molly Holly's often forgotten about as a pretty good worker. But if it's between the two, I'll take Victoria in the Hall of Fame, because her feud with Trish Stratus was absolutely wonderful. And she did have a pretty good match with, Molly Holly, WrestleMania 20. But anyway, it was nice for her introduction. And Victoria is like the sweet, innocent type before she would really snap and take on Trish at Survivor Series 2002, which another reflection show that I'll be doing because that was a really good Survivor Series. Then you had Chris Nowitzki and Regal backstage with both of them, and Nowitzki finding out that Molly was a virgin, not for long, because creepiness is fun. Harvard graduate and full-time creep. Kidding, Nowitzki was fine. And him and Regal could have been a really good team. I think Regal ended up having health issues soon after this. I think by early 2003. Then you have Booker T and Goldust and Mini Dust because Goldust had to show off as a Gold member because Gold member was out at the time. And then you had Slaughter and Test confront each other earlier, actually at that backstage interview that the Un-Americans did. And Slaughter got beat up by Test and the match never officially started. I mean, I guess it was fitting, even though it would have been kind of nice to see a little 3-minute match. But this was when 2 hours of Raw were the norm, not 3 hours. And then Goldust and Booker T versus Regal and Chris Nowitzki. Good match for the TV time that it was given. Good pacing. Of course, Goldust and Booker managed to get the win. Where'd you wait? Well, Goldust and Booker ended up doing that and ended up doing the spin of Rooney at the end, so... Or at least Booker ended up doing that. There was some good stuff to it. I don't know. It's like... It was enjoyable. Tag team division was pretty on fire at that point. Then you have Victoria and Trish. Victoria got hurt early on. Trish held the ropes open for her, kicks her through the ropes, and Victoria starts beating her up. Molly Holly is on commentary and, pumping up her protege, saying, she's doing so well. And Victoria even managed to get the win by holding the ropes with a roll in the corner. And that was really nice. And this led to their feud a little bit down the road from Survivor Series 02 all the way to, I think, Raw, right after Mania in 03. Actually, May of 03. But they had really, really good matches. They had really good matches. They were allowed to get hardcore with each other, giggity, and do some really, really good things to each other. That didn't come out as creepy as I originally had planned. Wait, that came out creepier. They actually really had a good feud in all seriousness. And then Lawler made so many virgin jokes to Molly. At first I'm like, okay. At first, one of them maybe, but I'm like, it was uncomfortable. Where I'm just like, God, Lawler, you creep. I mean, I'm sure that Molly signed off on it or whatever, and that, Lawler made him in jest, but it was just so creepy because Lawler always hating on women younger than him and being the lecherous creep that he is. Which, I'm sorry, I've never seen the appeal of Jerry Lawler. I get it. He was a big star in Memphis. Sorry, I just never saw the appeal. But I get why people liked him. And then you had a match, tag team title match, where Christian and Lance Storm as tag team champions faced the recently reunited Hardys. And Hardys almost won. Hardys almost won this. And then Christian pulls the ref out, ref DQs. Test runs down, boots both the Hardys in the face. Taker comes down with no music, so that's how you know shit got real, because he's just doing a run-in. Runs in with a chain. takes out Christian, takes out Lance Storm. Well, takes out Christian with a big boot, takes out Lance Storm with a chain, takes out Matt Hardy with a chain because he's just swinging wildly, and then runs backstage. Un-Americans get in the car. Taker commandeers a police motorcycle and chases after them. That was pretty fun. Then you had the continuation of the Lilian Garcia and Howard Finkel feud, where Howard Finkel felt that he deserved more TV time. And Lilian was just a pretty face, and they had some horrible banter back and forth. And Bischoff was there wanting them to settle their differences. And he said, this whole thing's very entertaining, but it's gone on too long, about 3 minutes too long. And, of course, Jamal and Rosie, are right there in the ring when the camera comes back. Howard, being the honorable man that he is, shoves Lilian into the guys and runs. And Rosie, is yelling, at, he's saying stuff to Lilian. Jamal's yelling. They're both yelling, but you can tell Rosie's saying he will, something like he will protect you. Just get some air on this move, because Jamal gave her a Samoan drop. And I put this video up on my YouTube or on my Twitter feed, so go ahead and check it out. But I put up from the time that Jamal and Rosie got introduced to when Jamal ended up splashing Lilian off the top. Right as Jamal's about to hit the splash, somebody throws, and I don't know where the hell they got this, unless they stole it from one of the bathrooms, or unless they managed to sneak it in, but they probably stole it from one of the bathrooms. A full roll of toilet paper just hurls it in front of the crowd and hits Jamal in the head, and it was one of the funniest things that I've seen recently, or at least like on Raw's, like from this time. And hits the splash. That was really funny, though. I had a pretty funny reaction to that. But 3-minute warning. It's such a shame that they didn't do more with that, because Bischoff with those guys as their manager or as their guider, as their guidance, that really could have worked. I mean, Rico was a good manager for him, don't get me wrong, but I thought Bischoff using them, and calling them out like that was perfect. It's just a shame the team didn't last much longer. And then RVD versus Jericho was a good match. It's a pretty damn good match for a TV match. They usually always had at least decent matches at their worst. Flair at one point, while the referee is down, interferes because Jericho had hit RVD with a chair a few times. Flair had been attacked by Jericho the week before because Jericho made his triumphant, Raw return. And Flair attacks Jericho. RVD hits frog splash 1, 2, 3. And, it was a fine match, and it would lead, to Flair and Jericho and RVD and Jericho. It would lead to some good matches. And then Shawn, of course, discovered, I'm just going to say the whole thing. They built it up kind of like with the big Cass and Enzo breakup thing with the footage, which I knew right away it wasn't going to be as good as this. They revealed the whole thing. They built it up. Shawn's on satellite. Triple H is in the ring. I swear, whoever this is, I'm going to find out who it is. And they clear up the camera footage, and it's Triple H. I mean, I knew. I'm 21 years old. I'm saying to my friend, like, the instant I see Shawn laid out, I'm like, it's Triple H that did it. He's like, no, yes, it is. Yes, it is. It might lead to him. I said to my friend, granted, it's 2002. The videos didn't exist. Smartphones weren't all that great, but I should have recorded something just on a laptop and just said it's gonna lead to a street fight, and it did. I said to my friend, he's like, "How do you know this?" I go, "Just a guess. Honestly, I could have been wrong, but it's gonna lead to a street fight." I mean, and obviously SummerSlam 2002 already happened. Again, I will do a 15-year reflection on that. But this is a pretty banging edition of Raw. I mean, it was really enjoyable. Yeah, some of the squash stuff was weird, but they did a lot of really good pacing. They had a lot of good pacing, a lot of really good storytelling, reintroduction of Victoria. The Un-Americans gained some really good heat. Taker chasing people on a police motorcycle is funny. Really, really good stuff. So anyway, look also for, by the time this one's up, it may already be up, but look for SmackDown from August 8th of 2002, where Brock and Hogan faced off, and Hogan got bloodied by Brock. Look for that review. I will be doing that. It will probably drop on Tuesday between my Raw and SmackDown reviews from this coming week. So anyway, what do you guys think of my review? Agree, disagree? What are some of your favorite moments from 2002 Raw or SmackDown? Leave them in the comments. Like, share, subscribe. And it's been Real Honesty with Jar Mifflin. I'm Jar Mifflin, and I will see you soon.